Championship Wrestling, presented by Pro Shingle, is brand new every Saturday at high noon on CW30.
Don't miss one full hour of the best pro wrestling action. Follow us at CW30 Wrestling.
We'll see you on Saturday.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling presents Rumble in the Bluff at the Knights of Columbus on 2280 Grand Avenue, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, July 18th at 8 p.m. The fans have spoken. Commissioner Missouri Renegade Forrest Putman has been listening. Derrick King with Just In Case will get his rematch for the AHCW title, but if Mark Southern with Classy wins, he gets 5 minutes with Just In Case. Also featuring The Posse, the Missouri Bad Boys, R.W. Hardy, Jack Parker Jr., Trending Trent Daniels, and Zay Washington, and The Family will defend the AHCW tag titles. Tickets are now available. Front row $12, second row $11, and general admission tickets are only $10. For ticket information, call 535-772-9099 or 636-232-3313. Rumble in the Bluff, July 18th, 8 p.m., Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Be there!
Ooh, this episode is brought to you by Spunk Lube. Spunk Lube is the perfect blend of water and silicone. It is an all-purpose personal lubricant that can be used for any occasion. You will love the natural feeling and look of it. It is safe for sensitive skin. Go to spunklube.com and tell them Shootin The Shiznit sent you.
Live from STS Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I have waiting in the green room the champion. That's right, the OVW heavyweight champion, the Gunn Show, Tony Gunn. How the hell are you, Tony?
Man, BT, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Man, it's been forever since we've talked, but I started thinking about this. I was there when you first got started in the business.
Oh, that was ages ago.
Well, I want to talk about that, but I want to start out. What we want to talk about first is Tony Gunn, the fan. When you started out as a kid, what was it why wrestling? Why professional wrestling?
Man, that's a crazy thing. When I was a little kid in elementary and stuff, I really liked professional wrestling. And then for some reason, I kind of grew out of it. And, I'm from the Arkansas area, so I always watched Memphis wrestling with, Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, and Jimmy Valiant, all those guys. And then for some reason, I fell out of it, and I didn't get back into it till about 97, 98. When I got into high school, a bunch of my buddies liked it. And, I was the only person in town that had a satellite. And back then you had to order the pay-per-views. You remember that?
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that. You ordered pay-per-views. Did you have a bunch of your friends over?
Yeah. So, everybody chipped in $5-10 or whatever. We had food and all that stuff, watched the pay-per-view. But for some reason we got the bright idea of hey, let's throw some mattresses in the basement and have some wrestling matches before the pay-per-view just for, shits and giggles. But anyways, more or less that happened in the basement. Then we moved up to the garage. And then about a year after that, 98, 99, I decided to build a wrestling ring on my farm property, my parents' farm property. And just the rest is history, kind of.
So I did not know this. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know. Like I said, I actually was there during some of the first matches of yours, but I didn't know you actually built the ring there. Being from the famous Rector, Arkansas.
Rector, Arkansas.
It's all over. I'm not going to kayfabe that because it's all over the internet. That's where you're originally from. So, what's the joke about Rector, Arkansas? What is that joke?
It's. I think a lot of people refer to it as Rectum, Arkansas. It's like the butthole of Arkansas.
Something like that, yeah. And just coming from there and then doing what you've done is just awesome. Being a fan and doing the sellouts. So you get a ring, you build you a ring, and who, is there anyone else that I know that you guys started training yourselves or doing backyard wrestling?
Well, what we did is we actually just we studied the moves that they performed in the ring, and we watched the hand placement and how they kind of, take and give and push off and body control and stuff like that. And we would actually record it and go out there and then study it and actually go put ourselves through our own trainings and actually go, work on a body slam, work on an arm drag, work on a backdrop, actually doing it the right way. We didn't just go out there and just take like cheese graters to the head or anything like we actually trained and tried to do it the right way. So we didn't hurt each other. So we were a step above the rest as far as trying to do it the right way. But, not everything lasts forever. All my friends, by the time we were seniors, they grew out of it. And I was just a kid that never grew out of it.
And you was just still a wrestling fan. Who growing up during that time when you was in high school, who were your favorite wrestlers?
Well, I mean, at that time it was The Rock, Stone Cold, but my who I used to like watching them most was Kurt Angle and Ken Shamrock. Those were the two that really like when I saw them perform in the ring or when they were on TV, my eyes were glued to that TV just watching Ken Shamrock's personality in the ring, and along with Kurt Angle's skill and agility as well, like his charisma as well. Like I admired both Kurt Angle and Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, I've said this before on the show, but Kurt Angle, to me, is probably the greatest wrestler I ever watched work. I mean, really just I can see him some things where you see him against people and you say, man, that's a 4 or 5 star match, and you see that same person against somebody else and it's a horrible match, and you're like, wait, that's not even the same guy. But they're in the ring with Kurt Angle, and even Kurt Angle in the last 5 years. I mean, that's it. Have you ever had the chance? Because I know you've been in the ring with a lot of people. Did you ever get the chance to work in the ring with Angle?
Man, I have not. I've never been stuck in the ring with him, but I have met him, once before and said hi to him, said, you're the reason why I got into wrestling, that whole thing, and I got to meet Ken Shamrock too at Impact Wrestling a couple of times. He was a cool dude. So it was kind of cool not to meet those guys, the guys that inspired me to get into professional wrestling.
Right. Ken's man, he's my age. He's in fantastic shape, just and still going at it these days. So you start out, you're training yourself, and then when I seen you were in with Derrick. Derrick King's been here 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. And you were with Derrick, I believe. There was a class of you guys where there's a picture somewhere of you, Derrick, Dustin, gosh, maybe John Michael.
Oh man, yeah.
It's just that base of people, and if you look at that base and that picture, that you guys have all been very successful, I think, in the business. What makes that crew right there be so successful?
Well, I think that era, not just because I got into wrestling at that point in time, but wrestling was really big and still kind of in a bubble, so to speak, where you treated it like, family and you wanted to help each other out to grow, and you kind of ran the areas together. And that's what we did. We were a family, and wherever Derrick or John Michael or wherever they went, we all went together. We all did shows together. We wrestled 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, every single week. So just having that repetition of being in the ring 3, 4, 5 times a week and just being that family of traveling together, I think is what's missing in wrestling today. So I think that was a big difference. And we protected the business still. We shouldn't go out there and do cool moves just to do cool moves.
Right. And does Derrick, do you consider him like one of your trainers? So after you started actually getting in the business, was he the guy?
Yeah, that's actually a funny story because, well, not really funny at the time, but I guess funny looking back. And actually, as soon as I graduated high school, I was like, I'm gonna go train to be a wrestler. I actually have training with Memphis Championship Wrestling because they were developmental with WWF at the time.
Right.
And I think that was 2000, 2001. And I saved my money up. I think it was like $1,200 or $1,500 for the beginners class. And I go ahead and pay like a month or two in advance. I pay my money up front, showing that I'm serious about my training. Well, crap you not, like a week before training or before training's supposed to start, WWF pulled out and sent everybody to Louisville, Kentucky with OVW. And they started the development in Louisville, Kentucky, and MCW, as soon as that happened, they shut their doors. So here I am. I paid like $1,200, $1,500, and I have zero training. So I was, I just lost my money, so to speak. So lesson learned. But after that, I just kind of like started running the road a little bit, trying to go to shows and say hi to people and try to get some training from there. But Derrick took me under his wing. And he just kind of showed me the ropes, and I just kind of ran the road with him for the first, 4 years of me being in the business, and I think it helped out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Derrick before about this, about being that guy. He in the Memphis area, Derrick was always, the top guy. In my opinion, when it came to work rate and being able to have just a great wrestling mind. He's put together some crazy stuff, and I always enjoy working with him if he's on the show. There's something before we go to our first commercial break. I want to know, do you remember the Tony Gunn Coach BT thing where we worked together?
That, with the clipboard, right?
Yeah.
That I think that was my very first debut in the wrestling ring, because like I believe you were about to hit somebody. You were about to hit somebody with the clipboard, and I came from the crowd.
Yep.
I came from the crowd and grabbed the clipboard. Did I hit you with it, or you just powder and I hit the other heel? I can't remember what happened. But I just remember
when he was back, what you were doing, what you were going to do for your finisher was, what was it? Was it the sharpshooter, but it was your own version of it?
The Texas Cloverleaf.
Yeah, that's what you were doing. And I said backstage, you said, is there anything I need to know? And I said, no, just grab me and put me in the hold. And you said, you sure? And I was like, I remember this. I don't know why I remember it. I remember it because it hurt like fuck. That's the main reason I remember it. But I said, just do it, because I didn't want to give you anything complicated. I remember that. I was just like, just take, you just do whatever you have to do with me. Man, that hurt like hell, but I never put it over. So I just want you to know that. Because you put it on. You did. You really put it on me. And then one of my guys finally jumped in and made the save. But I remember that as one of those times where you just go, yeah, just do whatever. I did that a couple of times because you do it with people. Number one, you being so new to the business, I didn't want to do anything complicated. Or you got guys like, I remember doing something with Motley Cruz and telling him, just do it. And him hitting me and two other people with a kendo stick, but me being ball-headed, you would think that it would hurt me. But I sold it like I'm supposed to sell it, and my boys didn't know they were supposed to sell it. They weren't supposed to bump with the kendo stick, so they had these big marks on their heads. So I was like, oh, okay. There's some things you have to say before you go out there. But yeah, always a fun time, and I always thought, look, I'm going to say this. Back then, even in your first match, I knew it was going to be a superstar. No, I always liked your work ethic. When you was in there, you was always trying to have a good match and understand at the time, even as a rookie or someone 2 or 3 years in, you always understood the psychology of it. And I know that has a lot to do with Derrick, but of just the simple psychology of it. Then, as you got older, you started throwing in the other stuff. Okay, let's do double heat tonight. Let's do, you know what I'm saying? It changed a little bit.
Yeah, your experience level grows, yeah.
All right, let's go to a commercial break. And what I want you guys to do, we're going to commercial break. And when we come out of the commercial break, I'm playing something that, well, I could say is a little bit controversial. You put it up on Twitter. You put it up on Facebook. So we got about 4 minutes and a half of, just sit back and listen, and we'll talk to Tony.
Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle is brand new every Saturday at high noon on CW30.
Don't miss one full hour of the best pro wrestling action. Follow us at CW30 Wrestling.
We'll see you on Saturday.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling presents Rumble in the Bluff at the Knights of Columbus on 2280 Grand Avenue, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, July 18th at 8 p.m. The fans have spoken. Commissioner Missouri Renegade Forrest Putman has been listening. Derrick King with Just In Case will get his rematch for the AHCW title, but if Mark Southern with Classy wins, he gets 5 minutes with Just In Case. Also featuring The Posse, the Missouri Bad Boys, R.W. Hardy, Jack Parker Jr., Trending Trent Daniels, and Zay Washington, and The Family will defend the AHCW tag titles. Tickets are now available. Front row $12, second row $11, and general admission tickets are only $10. For ticket information, call 535-772-9099 or 636-232-3313. Rumble in the Bluff, July 18th, 8 p.m., Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Be there!
Ooh, this episode is brought to you by Spunk Lube. Spunk Lube is the perfect blend of water and silicone. It is an all-purpose personal lubricant that can be used for any occasion. You will love the natural feeling and look of it. It is safe for sensitive skin. Go to spunklube.com and tell them Shootin The Shiznit sent you.
I'm going to start off by saying that this has nothing to do with character. This has nothing to do with storyline. This is strictly me and being 100% real. I was recently told that, Tony Gunn, you can no longer use the gimmick, the Gunn Show, that it's been trademarked by someone else that's on a bigger stage, a bigger platform. And that means that what I've been building over these past 3 or 4 years, building my brand, building who I am, is gone. And down to the music that I've had made, I cannot use, down to my wrestling gear, my catchphrases that I say on the mic, what I'm referred to as in the wrestling business, the Gunn Show, to my merchandise that I have, I can't sell anymore. I can't do any of it. I've been stripped away of it all. and I've never felt this way before. I've never had my wrestling identity stolen from me. I never thought that could happen to me. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. And I'm pissed off. Really pissed off. You know? I mean, I've been wrestling for 15 years, and I've had a lot of gimmicks, a lot of characters along the way, and I finally found something that works for me, something that translates to the people and on TV, and now I've had it ripped out from under my feet. It's bullshit. And the person that did this, whatever reason, whatever motive you had, I guess it is what it is, so be it. You know, and at the end of the day, it's truly my fault. You know, as an independent wrestler, you're supposed to protect your business. You're supposed to protect your brand. My brand was the Gunn Show, and now I lost that brand because of me. I've had a lot of things happen to me throughout my career. I've been chewed up and spit out so many times by this business. And I'm sure this won't be the last time, and this is not going to end me. But I'm going to say this. Any independent wrestler out there that's really making a name for themselves, that's really, found their niche and stuff that's working for them, take it upon yourself, because nobody else is, and get that trademark, because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's going to come along and steal your wrestling identity, steal your gimmick. And for the person or the people that did this, karma's a bitch, and you'll get exactly what you deserve. For me, I'm going to grow from this, and I'm truly the only real and honest Gunn in professional wrestling. And the one that stole this from me, all you are is you're nothing but an ass, man.
All right, back from commercials. We want to thank our sponsors. Thank you very much. And Tony, you are the OVW champion, and I know there's something that you don't want to talk a lot about, what we just played. So I want to ask you a question. You can say, I don't want to talk about it, BT, or whatever. But tell me something. Is Tony Gunn the name on your driver's license?
That's my name. That's my shoot name.
There's what everyone needs to understand. Right there. I think if you would understand that, and that is your name, that you are from Rector, Arkansas, you are Tony Gunn, that the reason this is happening kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth. Just put it that way, right?
Right, exactly.
All right. That's all we're going to say about it, and then when it's all cleared, we'll have you back on, and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Sure.
But yeah, the only true Gunn in professional wrestling that I know of. So there you go. So you start going in the Memphis area. When you leave Memphis, I kind of lose touch with you. But so where do you go from the Memphis area?
Well, actually, I graduated college, and then since OVW was still developmental at the time, I called up Rip Rogers. He was the intermediate class trainer at OVW, and I was like, "Hey, Rip, I'm moving from Arkansas to Louisville to train, whatever." I sent him a VHS tape, by the way, and he's like, "I don't look at that shit." He goes, "Who trained you?" I was like, "Derrick King trained me." He's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna have to retrain you then." But I guess he knows Derrick, because Derrick used to go up, because he was, I think he did like a tag team gimmick up at OVW with the Suicide Blondes or something. But anyways, long story short, I took every bit of money that I had to move here, get an apartment and all that stuff. That was back in 2008, I believe, 2007. I can't really remember. And then once I moved here, I had to save my money again for class. And here's, I swear, I'm the person that killed the developmental territories.
You killed it, huh? All right, tell me how Tony Gunn killed the developmental.
Well, I killed it in Memphis when I paid my money to train and then moved everybody to Louisville. I moved here to Louisville, and I think that was like December of 2008 or something like that. And then I saved my money, and I was like, okay, we're about to pay. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to hold on to my money until class starts. Well, the week of class, I was supposed to go in, and guess what? WWE pulled out and sent everybody to Florida to FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, well, I'm not about to pay Danny Davis or Rip Rogers any money if they're going to close their doors, because I know that's what MCW did. So I kind of got sour about wrestling for a little bit. And at that time, I was managing a health club, making pretty decent money. So I was like, I'm going to do this for a while and see what happens. And a few years rolled by, and I'm just kind of miserable. I was like, man, I'm not doing what I'm passionate about. So the OVW is still around. And I think at that time, Al Snow came in to help out with the booking and all that. And I just kind of worked my way into OVW and they had let me have a dark match, and they said they liked everything that they saw, and kind of been there ever since.
That's awesome. I took a videotape one time to Power Pro the week before they closed, and then they closed. So I closed down Power Pro, and then we had an ECW tryout of my 2 tag teams in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, when they were there after the matches, and they closed, I think, 2 days later. So I closed ECW. You know, you're in just a developmental guys. You know, I mean, I actually had power to take care of. But that's just weird how you get, and you know, this business is all about opportunity, being in the right place at the right time. But at this point in your story, Tony, I don't know if I still want to do what you're doing because you got so much going on and understand how, you know, it could sire on you. So you're in OVW, and how long have you been there in OVW now?
I think I started there late 2011, early 2012, somewhere around there. And I've been kind of in and out there because I've had a couple surgeries and stuff like that, but been there since 2012.
Wow. And of all the people that you've the guys that you went through with, let me go back. When you first went to OVW and started back there after you took your break, who are some of the guys that you were kind of in your training class or when you started that we can see on television now?
Man, I'm trying to think real quick. I remember when I first got there and I was doing some stuff. There was this guy named Ox, which he went down to FCW. Mike Mondo, I've got to work with Mike Mondo a lot, which he was one of the Spirit Squad members. Right. He did a few other things as well. Man, I'm trying to recall some people that I remember seeing there. It's hard to think of names off the spot. But there's been quite a few that come through those doors. I just can't really think of them.
Did you start as a babyface in OVW?
Actually, it was like for a few months. I was actually kind of lucky because when I came in, like Danny Davis liked me, and he gave me that opportunity to see what I can do, and then I kind of grew from there. And then Al kind of liked, I guess, my work in the rings. I was pretty solid, so he actually put me in a pretty immediate storyline when I started. And I started as a babyface, but it quickly transpired into me turning heel on like my best friend, I guess you can say, in wrestling. And that was a pretty good story. So I actually went from baby to heel pretty quick, and then created this whole persona of Tony Gunn with this Ralphie teddy bear. And I kind of took it like Al Snow's head, and I just pretty much did that gimmick, but with the teddy bear.
I'll have to go back and look at that for some of that on YouTube.
Yeah, there's some of that around there, but it was getting over pretty well, and I ran that as a heel for 6 months to a year, and then I switched over to babyface, and man, those actually got bears made, little Ralphie bears, and those things sold like hotcakes. It was crazy.
Ralphie bears, yeah. That's what I want to do. Maybe
it's a Ralphie bear.
I want to do a Shiznit bear. No, I don't think that'll sell very well.
But gimmicks like that only last so long. You can only move so far up on the card with a gimmick like that. And I kind of knew that. So once I got all the character and stuff out of my system, I wanted to, change change my level, so to speak, and create something different. And now that's when I created the whole Gunn Show brand.
Yeah, you did. Did you do? Were you called Shotgun Tony Gunn for a while?
Yeah, I'm still referred to that as Shotgun Tony Gunn, the Gunn Show. So yeah, but I still go by Shotgun Tony Gunn.
Now, you talk about Danny. Now, Danny left OVW, and then he sold it to Al, right? And Al is the owner and operator of OVW now?
He is, yes. Yeah, Danny sold everything off to Al Snow, and he now owns everything. And I think this is going on year 2, maybe?
Right, it's close to, yeah. It's one of those things where, Danny Davis, Al Snow, both of them wrestling people, and then you look at the roster, and then you look at their champion, and you can tell you're a wrestler, Tony. That's the difference between, other people. But did you see that in Al? Al wants to have a good worker, wants to have a seasoned person as his champion.
Yeah, that not only that, he Al's a really, really smart guy in the business. He has a great mind, and one of the best minds I've ever sit and kind of picked before. I pick his brain a lot, but he's also smart too. He just doesn't put people in places just because he likes you. You have to be able to get over with the crowd and know what you're doing. And OVW is now his baby, so now he trusts me and me holding the heavyweight title in order to, leading the ship or leading the team, so to speak.
They did a whole show a couple of weeks back on you. I'm going to put that on YouTube so everybody that's not familiar with Tony Gunn, the champ, very well done. And the interview, I'm not going to spoil it because I hate spoilers. So the interview that they do with you, I thought it was perfect heel. I seen the video where you was the artist. You was painting something. I love that stuff. It reminded me of the old Kurt Hennig videos.
Yeah, I wanted to do, because that's when the pandemic hit, and I was like, in the state of Kentucky, we can't wrestle at all, which, and they were still thinking of stuff for TV, and I was like, well, I still want to kind of get my character out there and tell a story every week, so I took it upon myself to start creating these inspirational videos of, your heel champion, Tony Gunn, sending out these, because at that time, the pandemic first hit, everybody was down in the dumps and just, a lot of depression and anxiety and things like that. So I was like, what can I do to, kind of turn this around? I was like, I'm going to create these videos and be sincere in an insincere way. So I did one video on gratitude, one on attitude, and the art one, and all that stuff, sending these positive messages. But at the end, I kind of do a little jab at my audience.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the way it was done. And we don't see that a lot in professional wrestling anymore. Real old school to me, and I liked it. I like the idea of you trying to keep yourself over to hell, You can't blame me for that. Tell me, there's something that happened, and tell me about that. What have you done with Impact so far?
Well, I've worked with them a few times, and I've done a few shows, and I was a part of their last gut check tournament that they had, and I think it was March of last year, 2019, and I worked against, I was the heavyweight champion at the time, but as a babyface, and Impact's top guy, Sami Calihan, came in, and we did like a 2 or 3 month story. And the payoff was, I think it was March of 2019, and we had the biggest crowd OVW's ever had in the history, and we were the main event on that. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but after the match, after I went over, everybody left the ring, the music stopped, and Scott D'Amore came out, and I was like, oh, something's happening here. And, and Scott got on the mic and said, liked what he saw, and he could see me on a bigger stage, so to speak, and extended a handshake and welcomed me to Impact, to prove myself. And I thought that was a really, really cool and humbling thing. But, and he planned on bringing me up pretty quick to give me a spot on the card to see what I can do. But unfortunately, that same match, I actually tore my tricep in the ring. Oh. And so in April, I ended up getting surgery on my tricep, which put me out for the rest of that year almost. So that opportunity was lost in the shortcomings, but then Gut Check opened up, and I was a part of that.
Awesome. You like working for those guys?
Yeah, it's a really cool locker room up there at Impact. I've been there probably 8, 10, 12 times, maybe a little bit more than that. And each time I go, everyone's just so receptive, nice, outgoing, one to talk to you. There's not too many people that have their noses up in the air or like, who's this kid or whatever, or you need to sit over here. It's a very good locker room, Everybody's working together to try to put on a successful show, which is really cool to see. And I really like that a lot. So hopefully since I'm fully healed and after this whole, wrestling gets up full time again, hopefully I can venture back that way.
Awesome. All right, we don't have much time left. I want to ask you whose idea this match was and how much I totally enjoyed it. It was a no ropes match.
Oh,
that was so unusual, but fun to watch. Really fun to watch. Whose idea was the no ropes match?
I think Al and I, we were brainstorming and we wanted to do something different. And the story that I was doing to Randall Floyd was we're seeing who the better wrestler was, because he claimed to be the best wrestler, and so did I.
Right.
And I was heel, he was baby. And we were just spitballing things around. And I ended up doing a match at a house show where the finish was I took the bottom turnbuckle rope off. And while the ref was turned, I blasted him with the turnbuckle, threw it back, covered him 1, 2, 3. And went over. So leading into that, I was like, hey, we're going to do, since you used the rope, we're going to take the ropes off the ring and we're going to have a no rope match. I'm like, whoa. So how are we going to do this? And he goes, it's going to be, no ropes. It's going to be either you win by pinfall submission or 3 ring outs where both your feet hit the ground.
Right.
And I was like, I love it. And we actually were going to do it for one of our bigger shows, our Saturday Night Specials, but something happened to a match on TV like a week or 2 earlier before that, and they needed a main event. And I was like, hey, instead of doing it at the special in 2 more weeks, you're doing that match tonight. And that was like 2 hours before the show. And so we had to figure out what to do like in 2 hours before we went out there.
I enjoyed it. It was something totally different, and you don't say that a lot in this business, especially when you've been there watching it as long as I've been watching it. Hey, I just saw something different. I'm going to put that up on our Twitter account also so people can watch it. I loved it. Before
one of my favorite matches, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Excellent. As soon as I see no ropes, I was like, what the hell are they doing? And then didn't know, and then I kind of, went back to see, what are we doing with the storyline? What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then I love the match. I really do, what y'all did with it and everything. All right, so tell everybody, before I do my crazy catchphrase here, tell everybody how to reach Tony Gunn.
Well, on Facebook, I mostly use that for family and friends, not so much wrestling related. But if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Gunn_Tony. And then Instagram is Tony, B as in boy, and Gunn. It's Tony B. Gunn on Instagram, Gunn_Tony on Twitter. Give me a follow. All
right. You got merch and everything. You're good to sell some shirts to people.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm actually have to revamp my whole brand, but yes, I will. Yes.
All right, there we go. Hey guys, same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there, and as everyone knows, and Tony's gonna know it now, I love my mama. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
I knew you'd get a laugh out of you, I don't. Hey, if you're stuck in the house and still want to order food, go with Uber Eats. That's right. Download Uber Eats on your favorite device. Get $7 off your first order by using this code EATS-BRIANT24790UE. That's EATS-BRIANT24790UE. Did you enjoy that episode? Cash App us, that's right. $BTSTS. Cash App us $1, $2. If you Cash App us over $12, I'll give you 1 year of Patreon for free.
Graphic design is very important. Your logo is the first image potential customers see. What kind of impression would you want to make today? Need a podcast logo or a t-shirt design? KT does art. Her name has become synonymous with quality and professionalism in the graphic design community. She specializes in graphic design, painting, and more. She provides affordable commissions and professional quality with a timely delivery. Contact KT via email at kt_doesart@yahoo.com. Check out her Instagram at instagram.com/kt_doesart.
That was another great episode of Shootin The Shiznit. Looking for contestants for Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever? That's right, contact me and be a contestant on Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever. A big shout out to our sponsors this month. Also, remember, we have a Patreon for only $1. That's patreon.com, Shootin The Shiznit without the G. A special thanks to Bob McGee at Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets, Gene Jackson at locals2legends.com, and Sean Garmer at Wrestling to Max website. You can reach me on Comic Book Mark BT on Twitter, at BT Shootin The Shiznit on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook with a Shootin The Shiznit Facebook page. We have the Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk Facebook group. If we don't like you, we'll kick you out, but you also have to ask to get in. All the archives are at www.stspod.club. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Podcast Addict, Spreaker, Spotify, and all the fun podcast players. Podcast Roll Call. A big shout out to Creative Control. Keeping it 100. Memphis Memories with Randy Hales and my buddies over there at P3 Radio, Max and Josh. Who's Right podcast with Doug and Anthony, a great non-wrestling podcast. Another one would be Man Brain with my buddy Dave over there, Man Brain podcast. Check them out. Lance's favorite, Suplex City Limits with Jim and the Fudge. Guys, I am Brian Tramel. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.